All right, we're going to talk about that now. Joining us is Executive Director at Unleash Prosperity, Tim Doscher, and David Hebert, Senior Research Fellow at the American Institute for Economic Research and Republican strategist and NEWSMAX contributor Luke Ball joins us once again. All right, I want to get to this. According to a recent analysis by the Congressional Budget Office, President Trump's extensive tariff plan is projected to reduce the U.S. federal deficit by $2.8 trillion over the next decade. Tim, I want you to start us off on this. What are your thoughts? Do you think that's accurate?
Well, look, I mean, you got to take everything the CBO says with a grain of salt. But I will say this. General economic principles say that if you want less of something, you tax it more. And if you want more of something, you tax it less. And we know that tariffs are a tax. And so, you know, if you want more tax revenue, sure, you'll get more tax revenue. But what about that growth number? What about that economic growth number? And that report also says that we would actually lose economic growth if the tariffs were to stay on throughout the entire 10-year duration. So we got to be very real. Tariffs are a tax. And we got to say that we hope that tariffs continue to be a negotiation strategy to get lower tariffs, not keep the tariffs on full time. So we want to make sure we don't stick with this notion of we're going to keep these tariffs on forever and it's going to generate all this revenue, but it's also going to kill growth. We can't have that.
David, there is also something to be said, though, in terms of tariffs about the importance of making and producing things right here in the United States. Aren't President Trump's tariffs aimed at also keeping American jobs here and also making sure that we're producing some of our own pharmaceuticals and some of our own heavy equipment?
So there's certainly an argument to be made that making things here in America is better than making things abroad. But the question is always how much and what sort of things do we want to make? When we look at what's actually on the container ships, what's actually coming into the U.S. from other countries, it's not cheap trinkets. It's raw materials and intermediate goods that we use to produce our products too. And so if you want to make more things at home, you need more raw materials, you need more manufactured parts, you need more intermediate goods. We get those from other countries like Canada, like Mexico, and like China. So if we want to make more stuff here, we need to be lowering barriers to get more of these intermediate goods into our country, turn them into amazing finished products, and send them out to the rest of the world like we've always done.
Well, I tell you who really likes this. People in Pittsburgh. President Trump was there on Friday, and the folks really like this idea, especially bringing steel manufacturing back here to the United States and ramping it up, Luke.
And that's one of the major goals the president had, was bringing manufacturing back to the United States. President Trump has some political capital to expend here. We have a period of time before the midterms start to ramp up. But if Americans feel as if the tariffs are having a negative impact on their bottom line and their pocketbook, I think the president's going to respond accordingly. But it was about reshoring manufacturing. It was also about making sure that we realigned our national security. So I agree with these two gentlemen as well, making sure that not only do we have a strong manufacturing in the United States and strong national security, we can then start to actually make trading deals where we do reopen and lift some of these tariffs in the very near future.
Such a good point. Certainly we know that tariffs may be a tax on people, but we know that manufacturing here right at home is very important. It's important to the president. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.